And tonight on our Great American panel, he is the former governor of the great state of Maryland. Bob Ehrlich is back. He is a writer for the Daily Caller, attorney, Fox News legal analyst, a huge lib, Tamara. He's the former football coach of the Auburn Tigers and is currently the head coach of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Tommy Tuberville is here. Well, what's up with that? What do you...
Isn't this
the Longhorns?
Hook'em horns. This is guns up.
That's not cool, hook'em horns.
Yeah. Guns up. How politically incorrect is that? We love it. I'm a fan already. That's good to see you, Coach. By the way, I think Auburn made a mistake. Just as a side note, in case you're interested.
Well, I had 10 great years. It was a lot of fun, and I pulled for them heartily this year, winning the national championship. They had a great year. Yeah,
no, they did. They had a terrific year, and my wife graduated from Alabama.
Well, we beat them 6 years in a row, so she doesn't like me very well.
No, she does. She's all right. All right, let's go to this. So the president decides to go to Easter services, and he shows up at the church of another radical preacher. Here's more of what this preacher said on Sunday, or said in the past.
The racism and the vitriol has taken on a politeness, and even such venerable saints as Rush Limbaugh know the lines that they are not to cross. But any of their constituency can hear clear the same vile filth spewing forth in their statements that was once the purview of Robert Shelton and members of the Ku Klux Klan and the White Citizens Council.
He agrees with Reverend Wright, says all this stuff. This is the only... What?
I got a question. Who does the advance work for the White House? who thinks this through? Who does the schedule? What were they thinking?
Why are you beating up on me? I haven't even said anything. I just did this.
Are you going to defend that? Sean wants you to, I think.
Well, here's my opinion about it. First of all, to cut and paste things out of somebody's speech.
Cut and paste?
Pastors are known for being controversial. All of them. All of them are.
GD America.
Oral Roberts.
America's chickens that come home from
pastors, no, chickens to roost. That's
talk radio and Fox News are racist, basically.
No.
I've been to hundreds of churches. In politics, that's what you do, as you know. You just don't see this stuff. It's not It's not normal. Well, it's not the normal message that you see.
Coach? It's a message that is in many black churches.
Well, it's about leadership. I mean, we've got to have leadership in this country, and for somebody our president to do something like this, to go to a church and portray an image like this, doesn't represent all people. You know, I'm a football coach, and I have to represent everybody on my football team and our alumni and our fan base, and, you know, I'm the leader, and you have to do that. And so leadership's very important.
So is he supposed to go to a church that is anti-gay and anti-premarital sex and anti-Planned Parenthood? Is that what he's supposed to do? Does that represent? Yes, it does. That's what his point is.
I've been to a lot of African-American churches, and I just typically don't see that in around the Washington Beltway in Maryland.
But there's a bigger picture here. Hangs out with Wright, hangs out with Ayers, hangs out with Dorn. You're from Chicago. You know, he appoints a regulatory czar. Animals should have attorneys. Another green czar, avowed communist 9/11 truther. Safe schools czar writes the forward for queering of elementary education. A science czar wants compulsory education. What does this tell us about this man?
Well,
that is your president.
He's our president.
Exactly, your president.
He's our president, and we all have a vested interest in having this economy
What does this say about him that he keeps appointing the most radical people that are out of touch with the mainstream?
What does this say about the conservatives who have nobody but Donald Trump to say that there's
No. We have a vested interest in the country being successful. We don't have a vested interest in poor policy passing the Congress or coming from the executive branch. It's a big difference between the two.
Let me ask the coach this question. You know, because you're building character in young men on the football field. And I imagine you talk a lot about how they behave both on and off the field and the people that they hang out with. And the list is so long of radicals this president hangs out with. What does this tell us about him?
Well, you know, we teach as coaches honesty, teamwork, self-responsibility. And if you teach all those things, you know, you can play well together as a team. Now, you know, we just talked about churches, and, you know, you can go to different churches and hear different things. I don't think a church is a place for politics, number one. I mean, church.
You go there to praise God.
That's exactly right. And so, I'm a true believer of, of leadership, of guys pulling each other together, doing things the right way. And, you know, it just seems like every day there's something that goes in different directions trying to pull us all apart.
And the rules are the same on a playing field, whereas here in America, they're not the same. The rules are different in the inner city where those preachers speak to kids than they are where you live and where other
you have yet to
Wait a minute,
address.
wait a minute.
Why does he hang out with all these radical people? Why? Why? I've never met anybody hang out with so many nutcases.
And why not a message of empowerment that we can all agree with?
I don't think
That brings everybody together. I would expect you would agree.
All right, we got. And we continue now with our Great American Panel. All right, there's a poll that came out, USA Today Gallup poll, about the president, and was the president born in the United States? Only 38% say definitely, 18 probably, 15 probably not, 9% definitely not. You know, what do you think of this whole issue that we've gotten to this point? The certificate of live birth exists. The announcement from his family 8 days later exists. So I think that's in the president's favor. But he could just go get the birth certificate and it'd all be over, and I'm just curious why he wouldn't do that.
Well, we've got enough controversy going on in this country. I don't know why he wouldn't just step up and say, you know, here it is.
Move on.
But obviously there's got to be something on there he doesn't want anybody to see. I don't understand it. You know, as a common American, I just don't understand why we just go through this. And I think it's continued to divide the country.
Oh, by the way, and for the record, I think he's probably born in the United States. Otherwise, that birth announcement wouldn't be there. But it is odd.
What is the deal? What is the deal? Why do they keep this alive?
Do they
We have
want to?
far more important things to discuss and debate.
I think Obama wants to keep it alive because what does it do? It takes the Republicans off of their main issues that they should talk about, which is jobs, the wars, the international fighting, all of these things. Now, what's going to happen? I anticipate that in the election, Obama's going to pull out that birth certificate and say, now what? Now what do you guys have to talk about?
It's an incorrect strategy.
I'm not saying
the
it's
substantive
my
issues will, you disagree then with the strategy.
Yeah.
Liberals like Chris
Substantive issues
Matthews want the birth certificate. Why do they just release it, he said?
I don't know. I would say that maybe there's something on there that he doesn't want people to know.
Like what?
Who his
What could that
father
be?
is. Maybe that the father isn't listed on the birth certificate. That is my only
But he
idea.
is our president. Our president.
The most transparent.
Yeah.
Well, for example, we don't have his college records. Where are his college records? Can we not have that? Can we not have his college thesis? You know, did he have the grades to get into Harvard, Columbia? Did he pull a few strings? Is that a fair question?
Should be transparent, obviously. It's been transparent for everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, I actually wrote a paper about his inability to be transparent with heirs, and the papers that were in Chicago in the library disappeared or were unavailable. Yeah,
So he's not. You voted for
So there's
him.
hope for you.
Well, no, I have always said I'm not 100% happy with this president. But who
But
does
you'd
the
vote for him
Republican-
again.
Who does the Republican Party have?
I'll take anybody. He is literally leading America and, as a consequence, the world into a steep decline.
And
he is in way over his head.
And Sean, it's very early, obviously. We have a dozen or more
Exactly.
candidates representing all wings of the party. It's early.
And they're just
It's
dividing each
April.
other up more and more.
Coach, is there anybody you
okay.
like for president?
Well, it really doesn't make any difference. If the economy doesn't get better, if the price of oil, gas is $6 or $7 a gallon, if we're still in wars, anybody's going to run and win.
I agree.
I mean, it's bottom line. I mean, we